Said feel the fires in the ring. His mindset only knows how to win. This Danish fighter will break you in two. You will feel all his power. Hey, that's a pretty badass song, man. You know, I didn't know it was about Mikkel Kessler until they, you know, kind of, you know, I actually read the lyrics and I was like, damn, that's a pretty good introductory song, man. I was like, that's pretty awesome. Anyway, this is the for the June 9th fight between Mike Jones, and Randall Bailey, and it's for the vacant IBF Welterweight Title. And I'll start out, you know, I'll break down both fighters and then I'll give my prediction at the end. I'll start out with Mike Jones. 18 of his last 26 fights have been against opponents with winning records, and he's 26-0, 19 knockouts, 73% knockout ratio. He's 6 foot tall, 72-inch reach, so he's big for a welterweight. He's not like Paul Williams thin, you know, height-wise and stuff like that. And every time I mention his name, I just feel bad. Anyway, you know, Paul Williams 6'2", he's 6 foot. He's a little thicker than Paul Williams is. You know, and like I said, he struggled with Jesus Carras initially, and then came back and absolutely blew him out of the water. So he learned from that fight, which is something you always like to see. You don't want to, you know, see that they, you know, just kind of get by. He actually got a lot better and blew him out of the water with that good win over Luan. And but he's not KOing the better fighters. When you look at his last 9 fights, basically, he's 9-0, but he's got only 4 knockouts. So that 73%, you know, drops down to below 50% when you start looking at that when he's fighting the higher fighters. And you know, he's got good power, but it's not elite power. Luan, Carras, Brussels, Arroyo, they were all knocked out. You know, they'd all been knocked out before, and he didn't do it. You know, and it's a, you know, it's a kind of a good thing that he went the distance. Now he's got 3 fights where he's went 10 rounds and 2 fights where he's went 12. And he's actually had, you know, like 9 title fights, I believe it is. And that's what I was going with there with that 9-0 and, you know, with the 4 knockouts. But the 9 title fights he's had, which usually means you're fighting at least the decent fighter, you know, he's got the, he's 9-0 with the 4 KOs. He's active. He's always moving. You know, he pumps that jab. He's got really good speed. He throws the uppercuts, the combos, works the body, keeps his distance. You know, and he's big for a welterweight. Like I already said, you know, he's a thicker Paul Williams. He's thicker, shorter Paul Williams. He's 6 foot tall, man. Welterweight, that's pretty dang big. You know, a lot of welterweights like Manny Pacquiao's only 5'7", 5'6.5". So they're not normally that tall. You know. Drops his hands, though, as soon as he thinks he's out of range. And that is something that will always get him in trouble. He can get caught with lead right hands, quick jabs, things like that. The second he throws and backs up, you know you can throw on him because he's dropping his hands. And he hasn't really fixed that yet. Got a good chin, but again, this is another step up for him because when you go over to Randall Bailey, you know, he's 42-7 with 36 knockouts. I mean, this guy has, before I even get into it, if you watch the Figueroa fight, if you watch some of those other ones, if he catches you with that right hand, it's electric. It's kind of like, you know, with a kind of Kelly Pavlik like. He's got a good left hook, or he throws the uppercut in there. Those are really good. The jab is more just to set up for the right hand. And if he lands one of those shots, you know, the right hand, that electric right hand, and that left hook usually follows right after it, devastating look. You know, when you look though, a majority of his fights are at 140, and Mike Jones, he walks around as like a middleweight. So when he's in the fights, he's like at 160 pounds. So he's not one of the smaller dudes. This guy though, I mean, to his credit, he's 5'9", 70-inch reach, good size for a welterweight. He's 37 years old. And he kind of gassed out in the Urango fight, the Juan Urango fight. You know, those body shots and stuff like that took their effect on him. And he made it. Now, he pasted Urango with that right hand. I'm telling you, if he lands the shots, he's going to hurt him. I mean, he's fought a lot of top opponents. He's fought Miguel Cotto, he fought Margarito. Didn't he? Or was it Ishii Smith? Like I could confuse those guys, right? Mora. Ceballos, Urango, Corley, Figueroa, good opposition. Someone else fought Mark. Whatever, man. I got carried away. He is giving up height, 3 inches in height and 2 inches in reach when he comes into this fight. And, he's lost basically one time in the last 8 years, and that was to Urango. The other fight, he got robbed. So don't look at that one and go, oh, he really hasn't lost, except for, well, he got knocked out. So you kind of lose those fights against Urango. As I said, he throws the lead rights. He pounds the body when he throws them, but he really doesn't work the body near as much as you would like. He's usually pawing with that jab, looking to land that big right hand. Kind of, like Kelly Pavlik. I wish I could, compare him to a different fighter, but Pavlik could start you out with that right hand. The problem is, if you can neutralize the right hand or take a decent shot, you might be able to survive this. And once you get him into the later rounds, survive the first couple rounds, to where that power kind of diminishes a little bit, because he can be a bit chinny himself. Stamina is in question because he gassed out in the Urango fight, and he's off balance, so he can be caught and dropped, because his balance, his footwork is not the greatest. He's not a big inside fighter, Urango fight, but he can pound the uppercuts though. And as I said, his KOs are almost like highlight worthy. If you look at the last couple of his KOs, they're just amazing, man. And Figueroa, Bonsu, just it sounds like a firecracker popping, and then dude just drops like a piece of crap, But if you can, like I said, if you can neutralize it, you're going to survive, because he really has the left hook and the right hand are his two main ones. If you can neutralize that right hand, basically duct tape your left up as high as you can, don't drop it, you got a shot. And that's about it. I think Mike Jones takes this one, but I think it does kind of go the distance, because he's going to play back enough that Bailey's going to be able to keep his energy, and won't get gassed out, because I don't think Mike Jones really wants to mess with that right hand. But Bailey is kind of stepping up in weight in this. He's not predominantly a welterweight fighter. He's fought a majority of his fights at light welterweight at 140, not 147. Mike Jones is a big 147. Like I say, he walks around at middleweight. So I think he'll be able to take the power, but he's going to be more cautious. I think this fight goes the distance. So that's Mike Jones, UD, all right? Well, hey, this is Bigragu. Guardo, I fired. I don't even have him around anymore. I'm just kidding, man. I just tell people that to make them feel sorry for you. All right. Bigragu, I'm out.